A house built in the 1970s is old enough to have secrets and new enough that you'd never suspect it. The people who built it weren't lazy. They followed the rules of their day. The trouble is, the rules of their day are trying to hurt you now. There are 5 things hiding in a house from that decade, and any one of them can cost you a lot of money, or worse. I've found all 5 over and over, and I want you to check them before you go to bed tonight. Not next month. Tonight. Because 4 of these 5 don't announce themselves. They wait. Let me start with the one that scares me the most, because it's the one that can burn a house down while everyone's asleep. Aluminum wiring. Somewhere around 1965, copper got expensive. So builders switched to aluminum for the branch circuits, the wires running to your outlets and switches. It was cheaper, and on paper it worked. In practice, aluminum behaves differently than copper. It expands more when it heats up and shrinks more when it cools. Every time you run a hairdryer, that wire grows a little and then it settles back. Do that a few thousand times over 50 years, and the connection at the screw terminal works itself loose. Aluminum also oxidizes. That gray, chalky film that forms on the metal doesn't conduct electricity well, so the connection gets resistant, and resistance makes heat. And there's one more thing. Aluminum is softer than copper. When the last guy cranked that screw down hard to make it feel tight, he actually crushed the wire a little, and a crushed wire has even less metal doing the work. In 35 years and over 10,000 inspections, the aluminum-wired houses were the ones where I'd take the cover off an outlet and smell it before I saw anything. A faint, burnt plastic smell, like a toaster that ran too long. Then I'd look, and the insulation around the screw would be brown. Sometimes the screw head itself had a little scorch ring around it, dark and dull. And here's the tell most people miss. The outlets that fail first are the ones you use hardest. The kitchen counter, the bathroom, the bedroom wall where the space heater lives. That outlet had been quietly cooking behind the wall, and nobody in the house had the slightest idea. The lights never flickered. The breaker never tripped. That's the cruelty of it. It's silent right up until it isn't. Here's how you check tonight, and I want you to be careful. You're not fixing anything, you're just looking. Go to your electrical panel and look at the wires coming off the breakers. Copper is that reddish penny color. Aluminum is silver, dull gray. If it's silver, you may have aluminum branch wiring. Now, one caution. The big cable feeding the whole panel is often aluminum even in copper houses, and that's normal and fine. What matters is the little branch wires, the ones the size of a coffee stirrer. You can also pull the cover plate off a couple of outlets, but only after you shut the breaker off for that circuit and check it with a tester. If you see a single solid strand of silver wire under the screws, that's your answer. And look for a stamp on the cable jacket if any is showing. The word aluminum, or the letters AL, printed right on it. Now, if you find aluminum, do not panic and do not tear your walls open. This is exactly the point where you call a licensed electrician, and specifically one who's done aluminum remediation before, not just any handyman with a screwdriver. The villain here was never the homeowner. It was an industry that sold a cheaper metal and a workforce paid by the house that never went back to check. The fix is not ripping out every wire. That would cost you $15,000 or $20,000, and it's usually unnecessary. The real fix is the connections. Good, better, best. The good option is antioxidant paste and proper tightening at every device, sometimes paired with special connectors rated for aluminum, but paste alone isn't approved as a permanent repair anymore, so I'd call it a stopgap. The better option, and the one most electricians recommend, is a device called a copalum crimp, where a short pigtail of copper is permanently crimped onto the aluminum at every connection with a special tool. Then you land the copper on the device. That runs you somewhere around $40 to $50 per connection, and a typical house has 30 or 40 of them, so figure $1,500 to $2,000 total. There's a newer connector some pros use that does a similar job faster, and it's worth asking about. The best option, if you're already opening walls for a remodel, is to pull new copper through those cavities while they're open. Expensive, but permanent, and you never think about it again. Here's the money frame, and this is the one that should get you off the couch. A single loose aluminum connection costs nothing to make. It's just a screw that backed off a hair. But that nothing cost problem is the leading cause of connection fires in these homes. The Consumer Product Safety Commission looked at this decades ago and found aluminum-wired homes were far more likely to reach fire hazard conditions at their connections than copper ones. You either spend $2,000 now on a schedule you choose, or you gamble the whole house on a screw you never tightened. I know which one I'd pick. That's item 1. The next 4 are less dramatic, but they bleed you slower, and one of them is costing you money every single month right now. Number 2. Your electrical panel might be a brand you don't want to have. I'm not going to say the names because I don't need a lawyer, but there were 2 panels sold heavily in the 1970s that have a very bad reputation among people who do this work. One of them had breakers that would fail to trip. Think about what a breaker is for. It's the thing that shuts the power off when a circuit draws too much current. That's the whole safety system of your house living in one gray metal box. If the breaker doesn't trip when it should, the wire keeps heating up and nothing stops it. The other one had breakers that could arc against the bus even in the off position, which is exactly backwards from how safety is supposed to work. I've stood in front of these panels and pushed the test button on the breaker and heard nothing. No click, no snap, dead. The breaker was decorative at that point. The bus bar behind them, the metal strip the breakers clip onto, would sometimes show a rainbow scorch pattern, blue and purple and brown, where arcing had been going on for years. And I've seen the plastic breaker handles gone soft and yellow, discolored by heat that had no business being there. Once, in a split level, I found a breaker so fused into the bus that it couldn't be pulled out by hand. It had welded itself in place. Tonight, go read the label inside your panel door. Write down the name. Then look it up calmly and read what electricians say about it. Don't take one forum post as gospel. Look for the pattern. If it's one of the problem panels, this is your second call to a licensed pro. A panel replacement runs about $1,500 to $3,000 depending on your area and your amperage, and if the utility has to disconnect and reconnect the service, that can add to it. That's real money. But a panel that won't protect the house is worse than no protection because it convinces you you're safe. A house with no breakers at all would make you nervous. A bad panel lets you sleep. That's the danger. Number 3 is the one that's been quietly stealing from you every month. And stay with me here, because this is where you decide whether you pay $40 once or $40 every month for the next 10 years. Insulation, or the lack of it. Houses in the 1970s were built right through an energy crisis, but the code hadn't caught up to the price of heat yet. A lot of these attics got insulated to about R19, sometimes less. Today, the Department of Energy wants most northern attics at R49 to R60. That's more than double. And here's the part that hurts. Insulation settles. That fluffy pink bat or that loose fill that started at 6 inches has packed down over 50 years to 4. It's still there. It's just not doing much. Compressed insulation loses R value because it's the trapped air in the fluff that does the insulating, not the fiber itself. Squash the air out and you've squashed out the performance. You're standing in your attic with a flashlight and a tape measure. Push the tape straight down through the insulation until it hits the drywall below. If you're reading less than 10 or 11 inches, you're under-insulated, and your furnace has been paying the difference every winter. While you're up there, look at the corners and the edges, out over the exterior walls. That's where they always skimped, because it's hard to reach and nobody checks. Warm air rises. It always rises. It's climbing up through your ceiling and out the roof 24 hours a day, and your furnace runs longer to replace it. The mechanism is that simple. Heat moves from where it's plenty to where it's scarce, and a thin attic is a wide open door. In summer, it runs the other way. That attic hits 140 degrees and pushes heat down into your bedrooms, and your air conditioner fights it all night. Now the money. Blowing in another 14 inches of cellulose over your existing insulation in an average attic costs about $1,000 to $1,800, or a few hundred in materials if you rent the blower and do it yourself on a Saturday. Most home centers will lend you the blower if you buy the bags. That's the micro cost. The macro cost is what you've already been paying. A poorly insulated attic can add anywhere from 15 to 25% to your heating and cooling bill. On a $200 winter bill, that's $30 to $50 a month every month, gone up through your ceiling. Over 10 years, that's $5,000 or $6,000 you paid to heat the sky. The fix pays for itself in 2 or 3 winters, and then it just keeps paying you back for as long as you own the place. One honest limitation: adding insulation without addressing air leaks first is half a job. Air sealing the penetrations, the gaps around your recessed lights, your plumbing stacks, the top plates of your walls, your attic hatch, that comes first. A can of fire-rated foam and a caulk gun for the small gaps. Insulation slows heat. It doesn't stop air moving through it. Blow cellulose over an open gap and the air just whistles right through it, carrying your heat with it. Do both in that order, and you've done it right. Number 4. Go look under your kitchen sink and behind your toilet at the water supply lines. If your house still has the original ones, you may be looking at a flood waiting for a schedule. For a while, builders used a gray plastic supply line, and even the little flexible ones from that era have a problem. The older ones used a rubber or plastic washer and a coupling nut that gets brittle. Plastic that's 50 years old isn't plastic anymore. It's a cracker. I've grabbed a supply line under a sink to check it and had it snap in my hand, dry and stiff, and that was a line holding back city water pressure day and night. The rubber washer inside had long since turned to something like a hard little hockey puck. No give left in it at all. The absolute rule here, and I want you to write this one down: if a water line is older than 20 years, replace it. Never wait for it to leak, because a supply line doesn't leak politely. It lets go all at once, usually while you're at work, and it puts 100 gallons an hour into your floor. That's the difference between plumbing and every other failure in this house. It doesn't drip a warning. It opens like a faucet and doesn't stop. Tonight, just look. Is the line a stiff plastic tube or a shiny braided steel sleeve? The braided stainless steel lines are the modern answer, and they cost about $8 to $12 each. That's your good, better, best all in one aisle. The cheap ribbed plastic ones for a couple bucks, I'd skip them. The braided stainless with a quarter-turn valve behind it is the setup you want. $10 a line. You have maybe 6 or 8 of them in the whole house. 2 under each sink, 1 to each toilet, a pair to the washing machine. $100 one afternoon, and you've closed the door on the single most common flood I ever documented. And when you buy them, take the old one to the store and match the fittings so you're not making 3 trips. And while you're down there, feel the shutoff valve. Turn it. If it's a round multi-turn valve that's crusty and won't move, that's a valve that will fail you the day you need it most. You'll be on your knees in an inch of water trying to twist a valve that's seized solid. Swap it for a quarter-turn ball valve while you're under there. That's part of the same job. And it's the part everyone skips. Number 5. Ventilation. Specifically, does your bathroom fan actually go outside? In a lot of 1970s homes, either there was no bath fan at all, just a window, or there was a fan that got added later and vented straight up into the attic. Not through the roof, into the attic. The installer figured, warm, moist air goes up, out of sight, problem solved. It isn't solved, it's relocated. He took the moisture out of the room you could see and put it in the space you never look at. Here's what that moist air does. Every hot shower sends a cloud of humidity up that duct and dumps it in your cold attic where it hits the underside of the roof, sheathing and condenses. Water forms on the wood. Do that twice a day for years and the sheathing goes dark, then black. I've crawled into attics in January and seen frost on the nails, actual frost. Little white crystals on every nail tip poking through the roof, and mold blooming across the plywood in a gray-green fan pattern right above the bathroom. The homeowner had no idea. You never go in your attic. And the worst of it is the smell. A wet basement, earthy smell, up where the air should be dry as a bone. The test tonight takes 2 minutes. Turn on your bath fan and hold a square of toilet paper up to it. If it holds the paper flat against the grill, air is moving, good. If it barely tugs it, the fan's tired or the duct's clogged or crushed. Then go up in the attic, or look at your soffit and roof from outside and find where that duct ends. If it ends at a proper roof cap or a wall vent with a flapper, you're fine. If it just lies there in the insulation with the end open, or worse, disconnected and blowing into empty space, you've found your problem. The fix. Good is a smooth metal duct run to an existing vent, kept short, and with as few bends as you can manage, maybe $50 in parts. Better is adding a dedicated roof or gable vent cap and running insulated duct to it. A couple $100 with a handyman. The insulation on the duct matters. because it keeps the warm air warm until it's outside, so it doesn't condense inside the pipe on the way. Best is replacing the fan entirely with a modern quiet unit, rated for your bathroom's square footage, properly ducted, wired to a humidity sensor so it runs on its own until the air's actually dry, then shuts off. That's $300 to $400 installed. The honest limitation is that if the mold's already in the sheathing, venting the fan correctly stops the bleeding but doesn't clean the wound. Remediation is a separate bill, and if it's spread far enough, it's not a small one. Let me put a real house on all of this. Ranch home outside Dayton, built 1972, original owners had passed and their kids were selling it. Aluminum branch wiring, one of the bad panels, R13 in the attic packed down to nothing, original plastic supply lines under both baths, and a fan venting into the attic with black sheathing above the hall bath. 5 for 5. I'd never seen a cleaner sweep. The buyers nearly walked, and I wouldn't have blamed them. Instead, they negotiated, and they used my report to do it. Panel and aluminum remediation, $3,600. Blown-in insulation up to R50, with air sealing done first, $1,400. New braided lines and quarter-turn valves throughout. One plumber, 1 day, $300. Fan and roof vent done right, $400. Under $6,000 total, and the sellers ate most of it in the price. Their first full winter, the heating bill came in about $40 a month under what the old owners had paid, and they slept in a house that wasn't quietly trying to catch fire. $6,000 spent once against a bleed that never stopped. That's the whole equation. That's the choice with every one of these 5. You pay today, on your terms, with a plumber you chose and a Saturday you picked. Or you pay forever, in monthly bills you don't notice and a repair bill you never saw coming at 2 in the morning on the day the line lets go and the water finds the floor. The electricians are going to tell me in the comments that not every aluminum house needs remediation, and they're right that not all of them are actively failing. Let them. I only report what I find, and what I found in those houses got me looking every single time. So tell me 2 things. Tell me what year your house was built and which state it's in, because the insulation numbers and the panel brands shift depending on where you are. And if you've ever pulled a cover plate off an outlet in an old house, tell me what color the wire was and whether you smelled anything. I want to know how common this really is out there. And here's what I keep wondering. If the 1970s gave us aluminum wire and bad panels because copper got expensive, what are we installing right now, cheap and approved, that some inspector is going to be warning your grandkids about in 50 years?